My fellow Americans, I'm still alive. The second time the Arabs have come up after me, but they've been chased off. So I'm still alive. They came up almost 2 years ago after I wrote a book about them, and now they've come up recently, but it seems like they ran. Okay, it's going to be an interesting show today, and I have on a satellite link Foxy News and CNBC and ABC, CBS. They're all kind of one body. And then I have a congresswoman. Her name is Nancy. I don't know what her last name is, but you probably can figure that out. So I'm going to ask them some questions, very pertinent questions, extremely important, and see what they know. And this was instigated by something that Bill O'Reilly on Foxy News said for the first time I've ever heard it. He made a comment that most of the American Islamics or Muslims are reformed, and I want to address that. I'm absolutely amazed that he would say that. By the way, he's a very intelligent, wise person. And somebody must be giving him some false information, and I'll explain that. Okay, so my first question to them is I'm going to read them from the Quran, and I want them to comment on it and give me their opinion and their impression, especially, hopefully this goes back to Bill O'Reilly. We'll just give Foxy News its impression. Quote, in the name of God, comma, the merciful, comma, the compassionate, period, unquote. Quote, and fight those who have not faith in God, comma, unquote. Muslims and Islamics, that's synonymous, have one God. It's not the same God as Jesus or Christians have, or even Yahweh. It is Allah. So they say, fight those that have no faith in God. That's in their Quran. Comma. Quote, nor in the hereafter, comma, and who forbid not what God and his prophet, unquote. His prophet was Allah. He was the last, Muhammad. And he was the last prophet. And in the Quran it says that anything anybody says after him is meaningless. And all of the Quran has to be accepted and abided by. It's throughout the Quran, absolute obedience. It's one of the primary, there's thousands of times that they say that in there in various ways. Okay, quote again, I'll finish it. Quote, have forbidden and not committed to the religion of truth, unquote. And that is Islam. It's the only religion to them, a religion of truth. All the other religions are not a religion of truth. They're a religion of lies to them. That's explained too. But this one statement says it all. Continue to quote, of those who have been brought the book, comma, until they pay tribute by hand, comma, and they are the low, comma, unquote. That is, anybody they bring the book, or they try to convert to Islam, is to be killed also. Okay? Now, what they have done recently, I'm speaking to the world, and I'm speaking to Foxy News and everybody else, is they have, if you go on the net and you look up the Quran, you won't see any of these jihad statements. They've segregated them in a separate book. Doesn't mean they don't believe in them. They're just trying to present another image. Maybe that's where Bill O'Reilly got from his crew of researchers that there's the reform movement in Islam. But that may be true. They may only have segregated. It appears like they've segregated it to take any references to jihad out. Jihad means war, of course. Out of the Quran and put them in a separate book. But they're still there. And all you researchers for Foxy News, just go in. Instead of just typing Quran, it'll only show you their Quran, which has no references to jihad. Type in jihad, J-I. This is Foxy News, and we heard what you said, and we'll have to check it out. We got to be very careful because these people may come after us, and we don't know how to fend them off like you do or whatever you do. So we'll check it out. Maybe true, but we'll have to check it out, and we'll have our research get more involved. So thank you, Mr. Yerman.
Mr. Yerman, I don't believe what you say. This be ridiculous. we can't hurt these Islamic people. They're nice people. We don't care if they come and kill Americans and they're killing Americans overseas. You know, it keeps the youth down. So, you know, forget you, fella. We don't care what you say. Don't be ridiculous.
This is Nancy from Congress. Well, no, you're wrong, Mr. Ehrman. You're really wrong. We don't have to be afraid of these people. We just have to be afraid of ex-military and all the Republicans out there. These people are wonderful. 5 or 6 million in our country. They are reformed. They're loving and caring, and they would never do anything to hurt us. They would never support their radical brothers and sisters. Of course not. Thank you. Okay, thanks for your responses, although they're ridiculous. I've heard various people in Foxy News and the other news stations say, you know, you can't pull out of Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan. You have to keep a presence there. You have to subdue their radical nature, because if we don't, 9/11 would happen. Well, let me give you a solution. Well, 9/11 wouldn't happen. Pull all your troops out all over the world, in fact. Anywhere that it's not a democratic republic, which there's not many of those left, but pull them all out, and then sit back here and close your borders to anybody who's Islamic. Muslims, Arabs, close the borders. Do not let any of them in. Then secondly, deport all the ones that are here. Give them a choice. Either deport them or put them in prison camps, okay? Then you'll have no problem. You people don't know your history. You know, Japan attacked the United States of America in Hawaii and killed almost as many as the Arabs did in 9/11. How do we stop that? We not only warred them, we did a real war, which they lost. We closed our borders and we put the Japanese in internment camps. I know it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing. But believe me, it's the only solution. Otherwise, you're just going to keep killing America's youth off and keep causing...
Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Ehrman. This Foxy News would never promulgate such a theory. We couldn't do that. These are innocent people in Islam. They don't believe in, and they don't send money and ammunitions over to their people, and they would never attack us here. Well, Mr. Ehrman, that's kind of ridiculous. You know, we screwed up when we put the Japanese in internment camps and everything. Of course, it worked. It worked. You know, we stopped it, and we stopped Japan, and Japan now is an ally. It worked, but we couldn't do that. That wouldn't be a very nice thing to do. That wouldn't be nice at all. We can't do things like that. Sorry.
How ridiculous, Mr. Ehrman. We couldn't. That would be silly. That would be silly. We couldn't do that. Besides, all the other nations might attack us because of that. We couldn't solve a problem like that. That's too simple. We'd have to discuss it and think about it for years, maybe hundreds of years, until America's youth has just gone away, dead or insane. Okay, folks, especially Foxy News, because the rest of the news media just, you know, they're just biased and communist or communist supporters. So, but I'll ask you all this, and of course, Nancy, you know, Nancy Congress, you know, I want her to answer this. Why are you afraid of the truth? Why are you afraid of the reality? Why are you distorting things? The news media, the whole premise of the news media in a democratic republic is to keep the people informed with the truth, by the way.
Look, Mr. Ehrman, we try to present the truth. You can't tell all the truth. Remember, we're family people. We have families. I mean, the Islamics would come and blow us and kill us and destroy our stations, and the government would come after us. You know, we have to tell the truth as much as possible, but be realists. Come on, fella, don't you realize that? Don't you have any fears? This is ABC CBS again, Mr. Ehrman. You know, you're kind of stupid, I think, you know. What do you want to tell the truth? You can't tell the truth in this society. It's for the betterment of all. It's not for the truth. It's for the betterment of all. Why can't you understand that? And if to tell the truth, that would be an antithesis to following the Constitution. We can't follow the Constitution. The Constitution is outdated.
Is Nancy back with you? We don't think Fox News tells the truth at all. It's just commentary, their opinion on things. Now the rest of the news media, they're okay. They tell the truth as long as they say what we tell them to say. It's the truth. Don't you understand? The truth is relative. You think you give